Franco. I am the developer of Grooscript. Anyone have used Grooscript? No one? Anyone know about Grooscript before Greach? No one? Okay. So this is the website and the email, and I am Jorge Franco. This was me when I was young, with a lot of hair, and I'm a developer. At school I was lazy on English, sorry. I'm trying to improve, but it's going slow. I'm living in Madrid. I work in Osoco, it's a company here in Madrid, small, but nice professional. I'm very happy. I'm learning a lot each day. And okay, I am the only one Grooscript developer. I do in my free time. So I do what I can. I can do more. So let's see who are the players of Grooscript. We as web developers, we are lazy. We stay very comfortable at the server side, and when people say, "Hey, do this in Javascript," oh no, I don't like Javascript. But okay, we have to stop that excuse, and we have to move to the client side. We are in the 21st century with all these tools, and all is moving to the client side. So we have to move to. We have no excuse. So, well, you can say JavaScript, oh, I have script. When you say an array equals to another array, it says false. Yes, I know, we have a lot of bad parts, but JavaScript have a lot of vibrant ecosystem around. It's not only JavaScript, it's a lot of new tools, amazing, with a lot of thousands of developers working on it, so you have to join them, or you will stay all day with your transaction, your TCPs, and can be boring. And we have Groovy with a very nice ecosystem too, but have a problem in Groovy that doesn't run on the browser. And the browser only runs JavaScript, no Groovy. And the last layer is open source. My project is open source, and when I started to think about do something in Groovy, I think about something, and I asked Kill Force, and I said, "Hey, do you have some tool to convert your Groovy code to JavaScript?" And he said, "No, there is nothing. There are some projects maybe, but nothing really. You can do it." And I say in 5 minutes, hey, I can do. Well, that's not really. Like 3 or 4 months later, I say, okay, I have seen, I can do something, can you help me? Well, he helped a lot. Start the project around September 2012. And okay, I have been in the bar talk. He say, wait, why you do something that other people can use? Well, you can do, but I prefer do things, and I hope you someday can use this tool. And if you do something, you will learn. If you don't do something, okay, let's see the why. What I have done in Grooscript. What is Grooscript? This is a Groovy to JavaScript converter. That are the standard, only works on Groovy 2.1, 2.2, and convert to JavaScript ECMAScript 5. Not really strong dependencies, but I use some function. Well, I think is the standard now in the it's an open source. Dependencies. For example, if we think in closure script, that transform Clojure code to JavaScript, they use some extra functions to create a JavaScript object or something. In Grooscript, you have nothing new. You have your Groovy code, and that will convert to JavaScript with some limitations, yes. But if you don't have to learn nothing else. It's important. There are some conversion objects that we will see now, and I have done some tools around Grooscript to make it easy, and you can use in other projects. Okay, what Grooscript does? Okay, it takes a Groovy file or a fragment of code in Groovy, compiles it, get the ACT free of that compilation, and with some conversion options, it generates the JavaScript file or JavaScript code. But that code, it doesn't run. So, you need this file that is in the jar of the project, because there are two times, compile time and run time. So at compile time, okay, but at run time, I have to catch the calls to methods, and for example, I have a method missing. If I say in JavaScript an object dot some method, if that method doesn't exist, it will not find. So I need some wraparound that is that Grooscript.js gives to us. So for example, this is a piece of Groovy code. Okay, a closure, a list, a class, a bit of meta class, okay, some assets. Well, don't stay calm. This is a bit ugly code, I know, but all have some reason. This is the object. It has, for example, the class names, and like in Groovy, have a default constructor with you pass a map with properties. So it's here. For example, a closure you see is like a JavaScript function, and what I say, you have to catch method calls. For example, this is GS is the name of the object in the Grooscript GS file, and we capture add method call. So that's why you see it's a bit complex, but I have to take that method call or property calls to use our Groovy code in JavaScript. And last thing, here you see there is no new. To create an object, you don't have to do new. You call a function. Okay, that's it, that function, and returns the object. Well, where Grooscript is? Well, the target of Grooscript is give you the power of Groovy. When I am developing Grooscript, I'm thinking about give you support to link it to list has map. Okay, I give you support to or lists or maps or bins or expander or mixing, all that Groovy magic I want you have in the process. So my focus is to do that. It supports some Java things. You can create a class, you can extend a class. Well, more or less, the typical flow is converted fine. And targeted be JavaScript friendly. If I create a class that to call a method, I have to call a big call with a lot of hooks. it's a bit pain. I want that you can create some logic in your application with some classes that you can use easy from JavaScript. Okay. At the moment, a lot of the things are supported, but for example, add delegate not working and categories. There are a lot of cases and some of them are not supported. And as I said, some limitations, not full Groovy or Java supported. I can implement all the Java or Groovy stuff. Only Groovy code you can access to JSON slappers or access to a file, just for the logic of your application, not for extra libraries. Well, this is what the fuck. I can do two methods with the same name. Well, JavaScript, it doesn't support it. So I prefer you have in mind, okay, I can do two methods because I can call that JavaScript object easy, say the object dot method. So this is a strong restriction. You can say, hey, well, this is how it's done now. So meta class, I don't have a full support of meta class. The main idea is support meta class to add things to your object. You can add properties, add methods. This is the way that is supported by Groovy. There are some no package, and you can do two classes with the same name, because as you have seen, a class is a function with a name. So if you have two functions with the same name, you only can one. And okay, so if you have in your code an ACD transformation, if that transformation is done after semantic phase, will not be applied because the transformation of the Groovy code to JavaScript is done in semantic phase. Okay, also not supported, as I said, linked has map or any complex JavaScript support, clausures, strings, numbers, you can create classes, the normal, the list, the maps, the range, but not extra class. You can see documentation. There are a list of what is supported and what not in the website. So let's use it. Okay, me in the 0.4.4 version. So you see, it's a jump project. I hope people give me good feedback, and I continue working on that. So you can, as you see, directly convert a string, convert any file to a destination folder. If the file is file.groovy, the target will be in that folder, file.js. You can pass this too. And there are some conversion options when you do that conversion from Groovy to JavaScript. This, like the code, the Groovy code is compiled. Maybe you can need some extra class in other path or something. You can find here in this option. For example, in grails, you can say go to the classes to rc/groovy. Also, this option in initial test, you can compare to a JavaScript file and add some tests at the beginning or the end of the conversion. But you may think about I can add a comment, But also you can add some code. You can, for example, convert a class at the end, create that class. You have to do in JavaScript, you say bar something equals to the new object. This option, if you say, please convert that directory to a target directory, if you say recursive, it will go inside all the directories inside. Let's take a look at some options. This is important option. For example, if you want to convert that file, that car.groovy, in the car.js, you will have that code if you say convert dependencies true. If you, by default, is false, because I prefer that you have each class in a different file. But you can say, I want only one file with all the dependencies. Okay, you can do that with that option. There is also another option. This is customization. You can customize your compile with some option that come with Groovy 2.1. For example, before here I add an ACT transformation to all the conversions, compile static. This is not very useful because that will run in the browser, but you can say type check it, and you can type check your code in Groovy. And you don't have that option in JavaScript. So your code can be very well typed with that option, or you can add the annotation in the class, and you will have that in JavaScript in your browser. Also, you can add some secure options, like this one. I have no much idea about this, so please, if you're interested, you can go there. And also add some imports too. Okay. And the last conversion option is this one, the my context. The browsers and Node.js work in a different way, and when I generate code, maybe I don't know where a variable is, so I have to use the eval function of JavaScript, and that eval function don't work the same way. So you can add this option to say, for example, okay, you have jQuery to say, hey, you have that variable or method you have available in the code that you convert. So the target code converter will be faster because he will not try to do an eval or any way to find variables when he don't know where are somebody. Also, I have added some features like these annotations. This annotation you can use for example, if you don't want to convert some method or a class, you can say, hey, Grooscript, please don't convert that. I never have used that, but well, maybe it's very easy. You can say, hey, this secret logic of my application, I don't want JavaScript. Okay, that's fine. But this option I use a lot. You can say, okay, this method will be this in JavaScript. Directory, convert the code between the comment with that or some, and put that that will be the execution of that method. So converting that data file will generate with that method with that result. Same for the other. I use that a lot because it offers you the option to work with JavaScript, but you can test what are you doing. For example, I have done some class that is a wrapping around 3 years. That is a library that do some 3D images in JavaScript. I added here initialize the 3 years or draw something, but all the logic that is in that show all that is in Groovy. Just only some methods are in JavaScript with this way, and I can test all my application in Groovy with spock or whatever. When you are working with JavaScript, I am the only one, I know. When you are changing your Groovy files and you are looking the result in the browser, I change the Groovy file. I say the file I have to generate again the .js file. So it's boring. Compare it again. So this is a feature to start a conversion memo that will listen, change into files, and do the conversion for you. So you say we're listening the destination folder, the options that we have seen, and maybe you can add some method to run after all is done. Each 500 milliseconds checks, and if the person change, that is a list of files that have been converted. So it shows there. And okay, this is the way to start it. It returns the time one, and you can stop. Okay, I have shown a bit of Grooscript. Let's see a real example of something that I have used to make JavaScript more friendly. Maybe you know about Phantom.js. It's a testing framework in JavaScript. You do something like Phantom.js and a JavaScript file like this one. You can evaluate some JavaScript code using libraries. So I think, okay, I want to be groovier. Well, not groovy. Okay, so how can I do this in Groovy? Okay, I can use the Groovy script abilities to do this. I can say that string execute, and we'll execute that. But not only that, I don't want to write code in JavaScript, I want to write code in Groovy, so we can put Groovy code and translate to JavaScript with Grooscript. Also, like I am working with converted code, I must inject that file, and also usually people work with jQuery, so I inject that too. And okay, I want to say a method that is a Phantom.js test. So please don't have a victim mind with that. Okay, you may. That Kimbo is a jQuery compatible library. It's supposed it's faster and smaller. I'm sure that I will upgrade to jQuery someday, but now it's no problem. So here is the Groovy way to do a Phantom.js test. You add this notation, the URL, that URL is mandatory. You have to say what to test. you can capture an image of the result of the page. You can wait a bit to do the test, and you can add some info in your console. And the method supports you to add some parameters to that method. And okay, in a Groovy test case, you can annotate a test method, and that will execute that test like a normal test. But in spock, not working very well. But you can create a private method with this notation, called from a spock method, and it will run okay. So that annotation changed completely this method. The method is now okay, go run Phantom.js with all that and give me a result. Also, you have to define where Phantom.js is, because the script abilities of run something think only in some directories to find an executable. So Phantom.js is not there. You have to say Phantom.js is there. Okay, here is an example. We say here where is Phantom.js. You can also have a variable in your system with that, and then you don't have to do this. Okay, you annotate this method. Okay, we go to grails.org and do this test. As you see, it's Groovy. I check that size is more than 550. Okay, and also ping in console all the links. It's just a test. Okay, here you miss that I'm not calling this function. I miss here. You have to say test code links, and the test is run. Okay, another feature is a builder that you can use in your Groovy code. It's a very basic HTML builder you see here, and the implementation of that builder is here. This is very easy with a method missing for each method. It creates the tags and generate the HTML. So the good thing is that builder is that Grooscript builder.js. The conversion of this is the file that you use to work with this in your JavaScript code. I expect that you understand it, because if you use this feature in your Groovy code and you convert that Groovy code to JavaScript, you need that library, because you have to understand that method, that class. So let's see a demo. Okay, this is a Vertex application, and we are using WebSockets. The good thing is that all the logic of this application is in Groovy and running in the browser. Let's add some field. Okay, Casablanca. You can click in a field to say you like it. And now this list is sorted by number of clicks. So let's see a bit of code. You can see that the code is in Groovy and running in the browser. For example, if I have changed, if I change something here, like how is the list of movies sort? You can say no number of clicks. You can sort by name. Save the file. Okay, now it's sorted by, I hope, click OK. And also there have some logic. But I want that you think in what I am doing. I'm working in Groovy and the code is running in JavaScript. Only use the server to save the films in an array, I think, no using that way. But all is in Groovy. I have a test, not this project, this one. Here I have a spock test that check all the logic and I'm doing Groovy. I don't write any line of JavaScript. Okay, this is the demo. The code is in GitHub if you want to take a look. It's a bit old, but it's working. Okay. So with the idea we have seen about the dynamic code in Groovy, running in JavaScript, I create a grails plugin. There are the links. The name of the plugin is Grooscript Vertex plugin. Why Vertex? Because I like the idea of fast things with WebSockets, and Grails at the moment it doesn't support WebSockets. I hope very soon we have WebSockets. So if you don't want to use Vertex, you don't have to. You can just use conversions. And just the link of the documentation is all nice explained, and all the code that let's see now is there too. Okay, let's see how this is working. We have to think in the some difference between traditional way and the new and cool Grooscript way. What is the difference between these two charts? Well, the difference is that render on the server, that's render on the client. So that's converted to a function that will run in the page in JavaScript. All that conversion are caged with the cage plugin, because in production you can stay all day converting things. You have to convert one time, and this Greach. And with these Grooscript tags, I do some resources plugin working to add some dependencies, so you don't have to add them in your GSPs. So let's see an example. Okay, this is the architecture that the plugin offers. First, a vertex, listening in another port that grails, that is listening to WebSockets. And vertex offer an event bus that you send things to event bus, and maybe in some way, in the server or in the client, someone can listen in that will happen. So let's see how we can do this. How we can do this chat sample in Grails. Configure the vertex. Just you have to say the port, and you have to say vertex. What are the channels that come from the client and go to the client? There are some restrictions in vertex that you have to add. So what are we going to do? In the client, I say, when people write something in the chat, it's sent to the server, and the server listen and send that message to all the clients. So it's here in the Groovy. On every new message, I send that message to that channel. That's the outbound channel. And all the clients listening to that chat event will receive and do something. That is here. It's a bit of code. Well, in the client, you can write something and send that message to the server. And here, we listen to that event in chat and add something to the page. Okay, you write something in the client, send the server, and the server sends to all the clients some guy have write some message. It's very simple, but you can see this is a new tag to convert Groovy code to JavaScript directly. And this is optional. You can say, okay, vertex have started. You can put here some logic, and in Groovy you can put logic to say to do something. And okay, on server. So with only this, you write a chat, server and client. It's very easy. In Groovy. Here is another sample. We have the events between server and client, but maybe we want some only events on the client. We have a page very active, single page with a lot of logic. Well, I only want to listen to events on my client side. Well, you can do in Groovy, of course. You can say here, for example, you define a function and a list of items, and when I receive that event, I do something. I add to the list something, and here is the code that. Do you remember that is the builder? So you can say, okay, in Groovy, of course, each list draw an UL with that string. There are some limitations. For example, if you put, what is this? $? Okay, if you put that in your Groovy code, Grails will try to put code there, so you can do it. You maybe want to write this code in a file, not in your GSP, so you can do, and there you can that thing. Okay, builder. Okay, this builder is listening to a concrete event. Reroute when someone launches reroute, the template runs. can say I don't want this template run at the start because when I want to render that template, when I say now, for example here when an event, or maybe you can call directly the function of that template. Okay, where is you say directly in what selector of your DOM you want to draw this template. Okay, to send a message in the events on the client, you can do it this way. It's very easy. You can say that what event do you want to launch and the data in the event. Okay. You can use directly JavaScript code, like Groovy is dynamic. He will not say, hey, I don't know what is console. No, when in runtime, that is in JavaScript, console is available, so it will use it. And this plugin has a strong dependency to resources plugin that I don't like too much. This plugin has some problems. I think I'm going to remove that plugin. Okay, another feature in the Greach plugin is your use your domain classes in the client. You have a domain class in your domain folder in Grails with this logic and other logic that you want. Also, with constraints, I have a little support of constraints, and to use that object in the client side, you have to say, okay, just give model the name of the domain class, and okay, you can do these operations. I don't have full support of all the options of Grails, just a bit. You are working in the client. In the browser, you have a little database with that class, with that domain class. That when I do a save, that's not saved on the server. It's just a repository in your client. Maybe you can use that, maybe not. But you don't have to write a new class or object in JavaScript called book. Okay, you can use that, and you have JavaScript. When I think the previous feature is limited, you don't have control on the server. Well, maybe you want to directly change your database in the server from the client. Okay, I have created this. It's a bit okay, I don't like too much, but like before I forgot about it. It requires Groovy 2.1 because some conversion options that we saw before, the customization requires Groovy 2.1. When I use a domain class with this or before approach, I apply a transformation, and that transformation is converted to JavaScript. So that's the way you have all the domain methods in your client. So in this approach, this is experimental. Okay, you have to say what your client can do with your domain classes. If you don't say nothing, there are no access from outside. I think it's important to say, hey, don't change from the client my domain. And you have, in this approach, even less method than before. It's a bit different. You don't say Grooscript model, you say remote model. And like all the calls to the server are done are done asynchronous, you have to do and expect something is back. And I have done a little phrase. It's like a little promise to say, okay, I get a list. The client will come to the server, and then if all is okay, if something done, and if something is wrong, you get a file. This is done. So I don't like too much also this approach, because you have to add a lot of callbacks and functions that I think is not necessary. I have seen in Meteor, it's a JavaScript framework, they do that in synchronous way, but I don't know how they do. I have to invest a bit. Okay. Okay, and more features in this view. Okay. More features, you can add daemon, also add a Phantom.js face, but it doesn't work in Greach 2.3. They have changed how the test face are, and I don't know how it's now. Okay, and for the next release, I hope we have Spring 4 with WebSockets, and I can remove vertex. And also, you can add that tag, reload, and listen if some file change to reload the page automatically. Okay, also there is a gradle plugin to do the conversion for you. Okay, we can convert or launch demo, or init a little project to work with Grooscript. Another demo, if you are interested, I can show. Also a Node.js package, an npm package. You can write code with Grooscript in your Node.js application. Just with that, it simply asks you Grooscript.js, and all the converted code will run. And another demo, I have no time. Okay, this is all the work I have done. What is coming? Okay, I hope I can work a bit, and if people like, the project will continue in the time. Okay, all those things. And why? Okay, you have said, hey Jorge, you have done something, but I don't like. I prefer to directly in JavaScript. And this is, well, I don't like. Well, here some reasons why you can use Groovy. You can create little modules in Groovy and run it to file. You can use Groovy all day. You don't have to switch to JavaScript. You don't have to work in another environment to run your JavaScript. You don't have to run any extra JavaScript pairs or extra logic in JavaScript. You have all in Groovy, all tested in Groovy, and other things. Okay, please, community, I love your feedback. We are in that version. Soon it's a young project. If you have some ideas or improve things, please tell to me. No time for questions, but I am here today and tomorrow. You can, hey, Jorge, please spend me yours. Okay, and thank you all. And these guys, I don't have time to comment. So, okay, thank you, and stay a bit.